Arthur Miller's The Crucible and Jocelyn Morehouse's The Dressmaker explore the complex relationships between personal and public worlds, demonstrating how private identity and morality are shaped and often corrupted by collective fear and established authority. Together, these texts value individuality, integrity, and self-expression as a fundamental understanding to human experiences, while also highlighting the harmful effects of controlling and judgmental public environments. A Crucible, written during the McCarthy era, uses the Salem witch trials as an allegory to expose the dangers of extreme ideology and strict control. The Dressmaker, set in a conservative rural town, highlights social exclusion and false morals by visually portraying the town's judgmental culture. The rural isolation of the town intensifies social scrutiny and magnifies gossip and community surveillance, which leaves little room for privacy or individuality. Both texts suggest that public worlds function as dominant influences that control behavior through fear and conformity, frequently suppressing individuals' truth. Alternatively, the personal world is portrayed as a space where moral integrity and self-expression challenge societal expectations. This piece will examine how public worlds in these texts operate as a corrupt force driven by fear and conformity, as well as explore how their personal worlds are represented as a site of integrity, resilience, and self-expression. Public world in the Crucible is depicted as a strict religious authority system that enforces conformity through fear and punishes opposing views, showing how fear and public control can corrupt an individual's integrity. Miller's use of authoritative tone in interactions between judges and the accused emphasizes the dominating control of the public world and its effect on individual integrity. For instance, Judge Danforth's command, "We cannot blink at more, we must tell the truth," or "You will be hung," demonstrates a highly authoritative tone. This creates moral tension for the audience, who feel high stakes and fear for the consequences of characters who must choose between conscience and survival. This illustrates how the court's uncompromising authority pressures individuals to abandon their personal morals, showing that fear and control applied by the public world can corrupt private integrity. This representation portrays the public world as a destructive force that shapes human experiences and highlights the tension between personal integrity and public expectation. The dressmaker portrays the public world as a judgmental and excluding community, where gossip and twisted moral standards enforce the conformity and reject those who are different. Through careful framing, Morehouse presents characters as separated or observed by the town, emphasizing the community's oppressive and judgmental influence. For instance, Tilly is often shown at the edge of wide shots, while townspeople gossip in the background, visually emphasizing her isolation and social pressure imposed by the community. The rural isolation of the town amplifies this scrutiny, making nonconformity highly visible and a social risk. This visualization allows the audience to feel the weight of social pressure and the emotional impact of exclusion, as well as promoting empathy for Tilly while exposing the town's unfairness. It highlights how anyone who does not conform is pushed aside by the community and reinforces the shared experience across both texts of public environments as oppressive forces that shape human experiences. Personal World in the Crucible portrays a moral space where characters struggle to maintain integrity, demonstrating how private conscience resists public corruption. Miller uses self-reflective dialogue and symbolism to expose the characters' internal moral conflicts and highlight the importance of personal conscience. For example, when John Proctor states, "I have given you my soul, leave my name," the name symbolizes his moral integrity and sense of identity, showing his refusal to allow the court to publicly redefine his private values. This moment demonstrates that maintaining personal integrity becomes an act of resilience against the corrupt public world, reinforcing the value of private conscience over enforced conformity. The audience experiences Proctor's internal struggle and moral courage, deepening their understanding of the personal cost of integrity. This presents the value of the personal world in shaping authentic human experiences and highlights the tension between the private morals and public expectation. In The Dressmaker, the personal world is shown as a place of self-expression and identity, where characters find their own self-direction and resist social judgment. Morehouse uses costume design and color symbolism to showcase individuality and assert personal identity against the social pressures. For example, in the scene where she turns up to the local footy match in a bright red gown, Tilly's bold, colourful dresses stand out against the town's muted, drab clothing, visually signalling her individuality and resistance to the community's restrictive norms. The audience is drawn to Tilly, empathising with her and recognising the questionable morals of the town. This visual contrast shows how Tilly's personal style expresses her identity and resistance to the town's judgment, highlighting the personal world as a space for self-expression. This demonstrates the essential role of integrity and self-expression in understanding human experiences while highlighting the destructive influence of the public world. In conclusion, both The Crucible and The Dressmaker reveal the complex relationship between personal and public worlds, illustrating how fear, social conformity, and authoritative structures can corrupt individual morality. While the public world in both texts operates as an oppressive force that enforces conformity and punishes difference, the personal world emerges as a space for integrity, self-expression, and resilience. Through techniques such as authoritative dialogue, framing, symbolism, and costume design, Miller and Morehouse demonstrate that preserving personal conscience and asserting individuality are critical to navigating and understanding human experience. The audience is invited to empathize with characters' struggles, reflect on societal pressures, and recognize the value of personal integrity. Ultimately, these texts show that staying true to yourself and standing by your values, even in the face of societal pressure, is key to shaping meaningful experiences.